going to ask you to give a big round of applause to the person in Parliament who has really led the charge against the anti-terror legislation over the past 7 years. Give a big round of applause, please, for Keith Locke.
Thank you very much, and I'd like first to give greetings to the people of Tūhoe who have come so far here today to be with us. Tēnā koutou, ngā tangata o Tūhoe. It's wonderful to have you with us because you're the ones that have suffered most. Your community has been barricaded. Your people have been searched, they've been photographed, and we must tell the police that it is completely against the law to set up roadblocks like that and to search people and to demand that people be photographed. So I first give greetings to the people of Tūhoe. Secondly, I give greetings to the family and friends of those who have been arrested in these raids, and I would feel much more comfortable in the company of those who have been arrested in the raids, including my good friend Rongamai Bailey, who's just spoken, than I would be among some of my fellow MPs in Parliament. Because when you talk about political violence, the only political violence that has happened this week is in the precincts of Parliament itself, where the verbal violence we see every day in the parliamentary chamber degenerated into physical violence with one minister attacking another MP. So if the police are really directing their attentions at people who are politically violent, they should look there. Now I think we've got to challenge the police not only to stop these raids, to stop abusing the law, abusing communities. We have to tell them that they shouldn't be raiding and running off with the computers and personal belongings of people, ordinary, decent New Zealanders across the country. We don't want a surveillance state. We don't want a state where our rights are abused. And that is where it is important that we don't allow legislation like the Terrorism Suppression Amendment Bill to enter our Parliament, enter our legislation. We've got to do two things this week, and I think we're winning the war for public opinion already. Even in Parliament I see it, where National Party politicians that are often the first to support any moves towards more repressive legislation, even they in their comments on the Terrorism Suppression Amendment Bill were, well, if the police have got it wrong, there'll be a big accounting. Even they're not certain that the police have got it right, and I think the ordinary New Zealanders have reacted against what has been happening, what the police have been doing. We could see it as we marched along the road and the toots from the horns of the cars, that we are winning the war of public opinion, but there is more to do. More to do to first tell the police they should not use the Terrorism Suppression Act on those charges. They should not bring charges under that oppressive legislation. That legislation, the Terrorism Suppression Act, passed in 2002, was never about Islamic terrorists. It was always about giving the state the power over people like those who stand here today, many of them involved in protest for social causes, for peace, for the protection of our environment. That is what this Terrorism Suppression Act is all about. That is what the Terrorism Suppression Amendment Bill is all about, and we must tell the police they shouldn't bring charges, because these charges, the Act itself is so loose that it can be used against people who are just involved in peaceful civil disobedience. In fact, if the police hadn't cooperated with our march down the street today, all of you could probably be caught under the provision in the Act that defines as a terrorist act people who put pressure on the government by by seriously disrupting an infrastructure facility in a way likely to endanger human life. And you know how they could perhaps define a march down a highway if it didn't have the cooperation with the police as somehow endangering human life. And that is why we must that is why we must oppose that legislation. And it's our government, and we must tell them this, and it's good some of the chants down the street there, that the government has been an all too willing recruit to George Bush's war on terrorism, and that is what it is about. That is what it is about, to bring in powers, extra powers for the state, extra powers for the Prime Minister in this legislation to define who is or who is not a terrorist without any real appeal to the court system. That is what it's about, to give the police and the state more powers to protect itself against dissent when that dissent grows to sufficient proportions. So this bill will be coming back into Parliament in a couple of weeks for the committee stages and the third reading, and I think it is important that all the citizenry tell the Parliament we don't want this bill. At the moment, the Green Party, the Māori Party and the ACT Party have been fighting this bill. Hopefully we can get more support, and I would praise in particular my colleagues, not only in the Green Party but in the Māori Party, who have done a tremendous job in supporting the Tūhoe people. And I also would like to just finally pay a tribute to Tamiiti. I've known Tamiiti for 40 years, since my family got involved with him when he was a Māori apprentice down in Christchurch, and he came back and was an original leader of Ngā Tamatoa. And he's played a fantastic role along with the Tūhoe people in sticking up for Māori tikanga and the Māori right to determine their own future. And I would just like to pay tribute to him today and all the people of Tūhoe who stand behind him. Thank you.
Kia ora, people.